Like, I don't understand. What can I don't know if I'm streaming or not. Can I delete this? Cause like, I don't know why my shit frozen. I'm still trying to figure out how to work OBS. Okay. Do window capture. All right, let's go. Let's go, guys. Hold on, it's fucking small. Hold on. I'm gonna stretch to fit the screen. Carter, you know what? I'm trying to, bro. How do I get this thing to like fit the screen? All right. Oh yeah, Julian. If you in the chat, you see I got your playlist on this shit. Okay, I gotta go to playlist game. All right. So. Oh yeah, Julian. If you in the chat, you see I got your playlist on this shit. I gotta go to playlist. Sponge. His name is Alex. I think his name is Alex. Is this him? Yeah. Yeah, this shit.
Juicy, succulent, and tasty as hell. Bring Steve's famous lava chicken right into your Minecraft world with this resource pack. Or this resource pack. Or this resource pack. How many of these do people make? Steve's lava chicken.
Can you make more SpongeBob theories?
With the new SpongeBob conspiracy.
Alex,
Can
make
you
more
do
SpongeBob.
More SpongeBob theories.
Alright, I get it. Listen, I'm done making SpongeBob theories. I already gave you guys 8 big ones. And then I made a whole web series about not wanting to be the SpongeBob guy. I'm done, okay? But Since we're wrapping up this SpongeBob chapter of my channel, and since I'm basically at 1 million subscribers, here's what I'll do as a final send-off just for you SpongeBob Theory fans. This video is a compilation of my 8 previous SpongeBob conspiracies with no sponsorships, no film interruptions, no whining about not wanting to be the SpongeBob guy, except for the whining that I just did, and a bunch of brand new, never-before-seen content. These theories have new
Yeah, and I
evidence
sat
that
through
we
all of
discovered,
this, bro.
some corrections and responding to comments I've gotten, new ideas and directions for old theories, and, best of all, 8 completely new, never-before-seen mini SpongeBob theories. I'll be sprinkling these new mini theories in after each of the main theories, and I'll also be ending all of my old theories with some thoughts on how I think they hold up today. And hey, after this, I'm still going to be making theories about other non-SpongeBob related topics, so make sure you subscribe to catch those. Let's begin this one final SpongeBob video with the very first SpongeBob theory I ever made, just for you, very passionate SpongeBob theory fans that have changed my life. Thank you for everything. I hope you enjoy.
Squilliam Fancy Son! Squilliam Fancy Son! Squilliam Fancy Son!
Squilliam Fancy Son III is Squidward's rival from high school band class.
So, I just took my private yacht across my private lake to my private heliport.
He's more wealthy, popular, and talented than Squidward, and he always rubs it in his face.
That's right! I'm living your dreams, Squidward. Oh, just succeeding in everything you failed in.
But I intend to prove that he's a fraud, using his wealth to make himself seem more popular and talented than he actually is. He goes to ridiculously extreme and expensive lengths to humiliate Squidward and show his superiority, and I'm gonna prove it. Evidence number 1, the pet
Y'all just wait. Just wait.
hospital. We first meet Squilliam in Season 2, Episode 15, Band Geeks. The episode opens with Squidward playing the clarinet and getting a knock on the door.
Yeah, we're with the pet hospital down the street, and I understand you have a dying animal on the premises.
Immediately after, Squidward gets a call from Squilliam.
Hello, you've reached the House of Unrecognized Talent. Please start after the...
Sounds as though you've got a dying animal to attend to, eh, old chum?
I believe that not only was Squilliam spying on Squidward to know when he was playing his clarinet, but he also hired the doctor to come and embarrass Squidward.
Yeah, we're with the pet hospital down the street. Pet hospital down the street.
We have never seen a pet hospital in Bikini Bottom. We've only ever seen just the regular Bikini Bottom hospital. We've seen this purple doctorfish before, but once again, he's never worked at a pet hospital. We've only ever seen him at the regular general hospital.
Well, Mr. SquarePants, it seems you have the suds. Are you ready for your treatment?
Then there's this green fish behind him, and we've only ever seen him as one of the many identical paramedics that work at the Bikini Bottom Hospital. We even see him at the end of the episode to take Squilliam away after fainting. So it is very likely that Squilliam hired these two and told them to pretend like they're from a pet hospital just to humiliate Squidward. Hey, it's me from the future! So this is an obvious one that I got tons of comments about. There is a pet hospital, and this doctor did do a pet checkup, and I was a teenage Gary. Still, I think the way Squilliam immediately calls and mentions the dying animal strongly implies he sent the doctor to mess with Squidward. Also, I don't have like a ton to add to this theory, just because they haven't really released any new Squilliam lore, but I've still got a few things to say, and the next theories will have a lot more, I promise. But this is just the start of Squilliam's elaborate lies. Evidence number 2, the Bubble Bowl. In the same episode, Squilliam also says,
I'm the leader of a big fancy band now, and we're supposed to play the Bubble Bowl next week. The problem is, I'm busy next week and can't make it, so I was hoping you and your band could cover for us.
But we've never seen Squilliam's band before, and despite claiming he's too busy to make it to the Bubble Bowl, he still shows up at the end to watch Squidward's band. So both his excuse and probably his band were made up to pressure Squidward into humiliating himself at the Bubble Bowl.
Squilliam, you lying, deceiving bastard! I didn't even realize that! Who is that handsome young devil? Hey, I know this guy!
Evidence number 3, Squilliam's friends. In Season 3, Episode 8, Squilliam returns. Squidward leaves for work and conveniently bumps into Squilliam and all of his fancy friends, despite Squilliam not seeming like the kind of guy that would come near the Krusty Krab. He and his friends make fun of Squidward for working as a cashier.
Hold it! Don't tell me! You're a cashier!
Don't lie. Lying always makes it worse.
But I believe that this encounter was planned out by Squilliam in advance, and he hired all of those people to pretend to be his friends. Take a look at Squilliam's friends. They're all nicely dressed, you kind of get the sense that they're fancy, high-status members of Bikini Bottom, but they aren't. This is more like what the fancy rich people in Bikini Bottom look like. These are just some regular Bikini Bottom citizens.
Hold on, let me fit this on my screen right quick. I'm gonna do this. Bada bam. I'm trying to.
Most of them usually don't even wear nice clothes like this. And most of them are regulars at the Krusty Krab and would already know Squidward as a cashier.
My daddy doesn't have enough slime!
These are not the type of people Squilliam would hang out with.
Yo, what the fuck was that noise? Like,
doesn't have enough slime!
These are not the type of people Squilliam would hang out with. I mean, why would Squilliam be hanging out with one of Pearl's teenage friends? You know, some people pointed out that maybe there's another reason for this, but I'm not gonna get into that.
Squilliam, you have some explaining to do. Hi, I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. Why don't you have a seat right there?
At the end of the episode, Squilliam even admits to his whole life being fake.
I made everything up about my life. I have no yachts, jets, or anything. I was only trying to impress you.
And then, of course, he quickly says he's just kidding.
Is that true? Of course not! I'm filthy stinking rich!
But was he kidding? I mean, obviously he's rich, but is there a nugget of truth in there? Evidence number 4, the statue. In Season 7, Episode 6, Squidward has to pick up trash for community service, and Squilliam once again conveniently bumps into him and reveals he's cleaned up so much trash that the city actually built a statue of him.
Maybe if you clean up Bikini Bottom, they'll build a statue of you. Oh wait! They've already built one. Of me! I cleaned up all of Bikini Bottom in only 1 week.
Hello, it's me, I'm interrupting. So, a lot of people thought
1 week.
This statue was actually supposed to be of Squidward because there's no unibrow, but we can actually faintly see it right there.
Oh wait! They've already built one of me!
I believe that once again, this encounter was staged by Squilliam, and he actually paid to get that statue built. As Squilliam tells Squidward about the statue, a female fish admires it and says,
"Bless you, Squilliam Fancyson. Bless you."
But if you remember, this is one of those friends Squilliam likely paid, making her whole comment feel very fake. By the end of the episode, Squilliam's statue gets destroyed. A police officer approaches and they have this exchange.
This is your statue?
It was.
Squilliam admits that it's his statue, not the city's. And why else would the officer give him specifically a ticket if it was city property?
I'm gonna let the video play.
Evidence number 5, the concert. In Season 6, Episode 17, Squidward watches Squilliam play the clarinet at a big fancy concert. He receives a standing ovation, causing Squidward to leave angrily. But I believe this entire concert is a scam. Not only has the audience been paid to cheer, but Squilliam never even touches his instrument. Once again, many of the audience members were part of Squilliam's quote-unquote friends, but we also never actually see Squilliam play the clarinet. The episode opens right after he's finished his performance with the audience cheering, and one member of the audience says,
"He's such a great musician. He doesn't even have to touch an instrument to be brilliant."
Maybe the real reason Squidward leaves so angrily is because the audience
Hold on. Display. Alright. Fixed it.
cheered for Squilliam even though he never even touched his clarinet. Maybe Squilliam is just as bad as Squidward at the clarinet and he's trying to hide it. Hey, before we get into the next evidence, here's a quick new thought I had. In this video, claiming Squilliam is a fraud in terms of his popularity and his talent. But he clearly is actually very rich. But how? Well, I think the answer is in his name, Squilliam Fancyson III. He was obviously just born into a rich family and was given everything his whole life. Just another interesting layer to the character. Squilliam has gone to some pretty extreme lengths just to humiliate Squidward, but nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to what he does next. Evidence number 6. The Music College. In the same episode, after Squidward leaves the concert, he's approached by the headmistress of the Bikini Bottom.
Yeah, Carter, this is what I was telling you about last night. How like he had got ran into by this lady right here. And yeah, just watch.
Prestigious music college.
Aren't you the esteemed Squilliam Fancyson III, who we all came here to see perform tonight?
She mistakes him for Squilliam and offers him a position as a professor. Squidward pretends to be Squilliam and teaches a class, only for the police to burst in and arrest him, all while he's being filmed on live TV. And I believe
I just
that
watched
this is
this stream back. Hold on. There ain't no way. Remove. Yes. Bam. Okay. Bro, this is bugging. Hold on. You see I'm fucking glitching, bro? Like, what the hell is that? Okay. I saw that shit. What the fuck is going on with this stream, bro? Bruh. had a fucking camera, like an actual. Never fucking mind. You know, I'm just gonna turn my camera off, because ain't no way. Alright. Here we go. Better. Okay. Sweet.
Expensive scheme to destroy Squidward both publicly and legally. This encounter where Squidward gets offered a job is already suspiciously convenient, but listen closely to their exchange.
I'm Squilliam Fancy Son.
But didn't you just say a minute ago that your name was Squidward Q Tentacles?
It is. No, I mean, no, I didn't.
Well, that's a relief. I mean, what kind of a moron would go to their worst enemy's music recital?
What kind of moron would go to their own enemy's music recital?
Like, what?
How does she know? How does she know?
True.
How does she fucking know?
Yeah.
How?
You're onto something, my guy.
How does she know that Squidward and Squilliam are enemies? If she knew who Squidward was, then why didn't she recognize him? Why would she mistake him for Squilliam? This feels way too much like she was hired by Squilliam to set a trap for Squidward. And if that's not enough, the headmistress's associate is literally just a guy from the paid audience wearing a disguise. He just threw on some glasses to seem smart. Squilliam knew that Squidward couldn't resist the opportunity to teach a music class, even if it meant breaking the law.
My very own music class.
Then we get to the Bikini Bottom prestigious music college, and right off the bat, there's something very fishy about this place. The building itself is very green and grimy, and has a very cheap metal look. Nothing about this says prestigious, except for the big sign on top, which feels like the only new thing about this building. I think there is a very good chance that Squilliam just bought some old warehouse, then stuck a sign and some paint on it to disguise it as a college. I mean, look at these other schools in Bikini Bottom. They all have a very nice structure and a paint job, but this prestigious music college looks like a dumpster. Going into the classroom, not only does it have another one of Squilliam's friends, but if this is such a prestigious college, how did SpongeBob and Patrick get in here?
Would you two numbskulls mind telling me what you're doing in music class anyway?
Sure. Patrick's New Year's resolution was to learn to play an instrument.
They say it was their New Year's resolution to take a music class, but you'd think it'd be harder for them to get into an esteemed music school if they just decided to go to it on a whim. Seems like they're just letting in anyone to sell this ruse. Then, both the police, Squilliam and the headmistress and a live news broadcast show up at the same time to arrest Squidward for impersonating Squilliam. If the extremely coincidental fact that all of these people suddenly showed up at the same time isn't enough for you to believe that Squilliam set it all up, I've got something that's going to blow your mind. Squilliam literally has the police working for him.
Squidward cute tentacles, I'm placing you under arrest for impersonating a genius.
If that doesn't sound like he's been paid off, I don't know what does. The lengths that Squilliam goes to humiliate Squidward are insane. He literally builds statues and entire buildings just to make Squidward feel inferior. But why? Why would anyone go so far to embarrass an old high school band classmate? What happened between them? What could have caused this extreme level of dedication? Well, unfortunately, we never really get much information on their past. I've spent hours reading through the SpongeBob Wikipedia and looking at old episodes, and there really just isn't any clues that would explain their weird relationship. I guess we can't solve everything, but either way, that's my theory. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Wait a second. Season 6, Episode 5, Slide Whistle Stooges. Just a normal episode where SpongeBob and Patrick annoy Squidward. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Except I have one question about this episode. Why does Squidward have Squilliam's robe? That is clearly not the purple robe he usually wears. That is Squilliam Fancyson III's robe. Why would Squidward have this?
Are we about to... Is he about to say what I think he's about to...
Facts.
Unless they were more than just classmates. Could they have once been dating?
Hey, yo! I mean, wait. He's a grown man that likes the clarinet, classical art, classical music, and smooth jazz. Octopi are bisexual?
No way. That's not possible. There's no evidence to support that. Right?
Don't be intimidated, Squidward. Try to imagine him in his underwear. Oh no, he's hot!
No. It can't be.
I mean, what kind of a moron would go to their worst enemy's music recital?
It's been right in front of us this whole time.
Our sources last saw Evil harassing teenagers up at Makeout Reef.
Makeout Reef. Good times, good times.
Voted most likely to suck eggs in high school.
Holy shit!
Yeah, but this shit's crazy, bruh. What the fuck?
Alex Bale does it again. He does it again. He always has this way of being like, of the video obviously being a stretch, but he'll give you that one tidbit of it, the aha moment. He does it every time. He does it every time.
He calls him Squiddy.
Squiddy?
That kind of sounds like a pet name for an ex, right? I don't know. Obviously, I didn't have a ton to add to this theory, since there hasn't really been any new Squilliam episodes, but I have a lot more to say in the other theories, I promise.
Odin Valhalla Rising, now available on mobile and PC, exclusively with Google Play Games. Ascend to Valhalla on a larger PC screen and sync your progress across mobile and PC devices. Earn Google Play points for every purchase you make on PC. And get an exclusive 15...
Some of these ads actually be kind of cool, I can't lie.
So, before we get into the first official new mini-theory, I'm gonna end each of my old theories with a few thoughts on how I think they hold up, and where I think they rank among the others. I think I'd probably rank this as my worst SpongeBob theory, even though I still think it's pretty plausible. It's just got a lot of issues with it. You can probably tell it's my first attempt at an actual theory, with some obvious things I got wrong, and the fact that a lot of the evidence relies on the continuity of very common background characters, which are obviously used very interchangeably in this show with no rhyme or reason. I still think there's some really good evidence here, like the design of the college, or the way this lady clearly knows more about Squidward than she's letting on. But also, you know, when you compare it to my later theories, it's kind of just a very basic, simple concept. I'm just claiming the asshole character is an even bigger asshole than you thought. It's really not that interesting or surprising. Oh well, we can only go up from here. Let's begin my first new mini theory. So here's a question I've been asked from the very start of making these SpongeBob theories. How is there fire underwater? It's probably one of the most obvious contradictions in this show, and the creators will usually go out of their way to draw attention to the fact that it doesn't make any sense.
At least it's warm around the fire.
Hey, if we're underwater, how could there be a...
Whoever sent this obviously has no idea about the physical limitations of life underwater. Might as well throw these in the fire.
So finally, I will give the people my answer to this infamous, age-old question, how is there fire underwater? It's just a cartoon. I'm not kidding, that's actually my answer. SpongeBob is not the real world. It's a cartoon. It has its own cartoon logic where absurd things like fire being underwater can happen. But that doesn't mean there's nothing here to theorize about. Just because it's cartoon logic doesn't mean it's not still logic. If you pay close attention, you can see that there is a consistent internal logic and rules to how this cartoon world really works. And I think how SpongeBob cartoon logic works is best explained in the Season 3 episode, Idiot Box. In this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick spend the day playing inside of a box, but Squidward keeps hearing impossible sound effects coming from it.
SpongeBob?
And how are they creating these sound effects?
How are you two making those noises?
Imagination.
With their imagination. And this is key to understanding how the SpongeBob world really works. This episode tells us that anything that is imagined in SpongeBob can physically come to life. We can see this imagination rule in every single episode of the show. The most obvious example of this is when a character is thinking and a thought bubble appears above their head. But in SpongeBob, these thought bubbles are real physical things. Other characters can see and physically interact with them.
Wait, hold on! My pen is out of ink. Plankton! You'll never get me formula, not even in a flashback.
Because things imagined in SpongeBob come to life. And this goes far beyond just thought bubbles. It explains how characters are constantly getting new props and costumes out of nowhere. Where did SpongeBob suddenly get this hat and sign? Where did he get this glove or all of these costumes that instantly appear and disappear? It's because SpongeBob is imagining all of these props. This can be used to explain almost every single absurd gag in this show.
Wait, Patrick, you're supposed to let me win, remember?
Oh, yeah?
Patrick is imagining himself getting beat up here.
Said it's gonna be a good one, just wait and see.
SpongeBob is imagining the sun talking to him and burning his bedroom. And SpongeBob and Patrick are imagining that fire is able to exist underwater. And if you still don't believe me, look what happens when Patrick questions the logic behind the fire.
Hey, if we're underwater, how could there be a...
Bruh, like... See, when we were kids, we didn't really pay attention to this. But, like, now that we're older, we're able to, like, comprehend that this show is weird. Like, it's a classic, but it's like low-key kind of unsettling in a way.
The moment they start doubting the logic of the fire, it disappears because they're no longer able to imagine it. This rule also seems to be limited by how imaginative each character is. Squidward, who never even got the idiot box to work, rarely ever manifests any imaginations, while SpongeBob, arguably the most imaginative character in the show, has created living characters like Doodlebob and Bubble Buddy using his imagination, both of which have ended up continually reappearing throughout the entire show. Bubble Buddy even went on to create an entire bubble town full of bubble citizens, all stemming from SpongeBob's imagination. This theory also explains why Mrs. Puff gets trapped in so many delusions. They are literally manifesting around her because of her imagination.
Dude, how hard do you have to watch this to figure all this out? Like, genuinely.
Okay. But what's the point of explaining all of this? Even if you didn't know the exact mechanics of it, you probably already understood that random stuff can just appear and disappear in a cartoon. I'm not really telling you anything groundbreaking. But once you fully understand this idea, it adds a whole new context to so many things in this show. One of the most interesting being how dreams seem to affect the world. Specifically, SpongeBob's dreams. In Season 1 Sleepy Time, SpongeBob dreams about finally getting his license, but then he crashes and Mrs. Puff takes his license away. And this is exactly what happens later in the Season 2 episode, No Free Rides. Mrs. Puff gives him a license, instantly regrets it, and after SpongeBob crashes his car, Mrs. Puff takes his license away. So, did SpongeBob's dream predict this event? Or did his imagination literally cause it to happen? Okay, you're not convinced yet? Don't worry. This is far from the only instance of this happening. In Season 2 Procrastination, SpongeBob dreams about his pineapple burning down, which happens later in Season 9 Gary's New Toy. In Season 5 Roller Cowards, he dreams about crashing on a Glove World roller coaster, and then it happens in Season 10 Don't Wake Patrick. Even dreams we don't see come true. In Squids on a Bus, Squidward becomes a bus driver for the day, and SpongeBob says this.
I've always dreamed one day I'd board a bus and see you driving it.
Now,
Hey, yo.
already know what you're gonna say. SpongeBob's a very long-running show. A lot of these basic plots were bound to happen eventually, right? You know, it's like how The Simpsons can predict the future. But in Season 4's Fear of Krabby Patties, SpongeBob dreams about everyone in the Krusty Krab turning into giant killer Krabby Patties. That is a very weird and specific plot, and yet that's still exactly what happens 7 seasons later in Krabby Patty Creature Feature, when Mr. Krabs feeds people experimental Krabby Patties and turns everyone into giant mutant Krabby Patty monsters that try to hunt SpongeBob down. It seems like all of SpongeBob's dreams eventually manifest into real life because of the unlimited power of his imagination. Okay, that's all pretty interesting, right? But you want to know something really crazy? While researching this theory, I discovered something insane. Honestly, it may be one of the craziest discoveries I've ever found in this show. Are you ready? In the Season 6 special, Truth or Square, all of the characters get trapped inside of the massive ventilation system beneath the Krusty Krab.
There's an entire network of tunnels and air ducts underground.
At a certain point, Mr. Krabs gets separated from the group.
A crossroads. I'll go this way, and SpongeBob, you lead him down that way.
SpongeBob then takes a break to tell the story of when Mr. Krabs told him the Krabby Patty secret formula.
This reminds me of the time Mr. Krabs confided in me the Krabby Patty recipe. Mr. Krabs called me into his office.
And then something really strange happens. After the story, we cut back to the group, and Mr. Krabs is somehow back with them after previously being separated. I'm serious. There's no scene of them being reunited. He's just gone and then back somehow, and it's never explained in this episode. I mean, what was even the point of wasting time and money animating them split up if they were just gonna immediately bring Mr. Krabs back without any explanation?
I'll go this way, and SpongeBob, you lead him down that way.
You could literally remove the scene of Mr. Krabs separating from them, and the episode would make total sense. But wait a second. Look at how SpongeBob's story ends.
You can never tell another living soul. Wait, hold on! Plankton! You'll never get me formula, not even in a flashback. SpongeBob.
Imaginary Mr. Krabs from inside of the thought bubble grabs Plankton and throws him down a vent. And when we cut back, Mr. Krabs is suddenly back sitting with the group. The obvious explanation is that this isn't the real Mr. Krabs.
Fucking doppelganger, bro.
This is still the imaginary Krabs from SpongeBob's story who came to life. And the real Mr. Krabs is still somewhere lost inside of the Krusty Krab vents, and they never switched back. The Mr. Krabs they escape with is not the real Mr. Krabs. And every time we see Mr. Krabs after this Season 6 episode, he's actually a fake imaginary doppelganger. And the real one is still trapped beneath the Krusty Krab somewhere. It's the reason why Mr. Krabs in later seasons has become such a one-dimensional character, going from someone who was cheap but still genuinely cared about his employees and family to a one-note cartoon villain. It's because he actually was replaced by a flat, imaginary imitation of the original. And I know what you're gonna say, there's no way SpongeBob would imagine him to be that way. Well, think again.
Show me what you got.
Look at me. I'm Mr. Krabs. I love money. Every night I tuck me wallet in and tell it a bedtime
Bro just got done smoking like 12 packs of Newports.
story. Ooh, what's that you say? Me daughter Pearl needs an operation? I'll do it myself and save a nickel.
That'll do, SpongeBob.
And that is the imagination theory. 7 more mini theories left. Woo!
This next one, I think the next one is like the craziest one. Yes, this one. Bro, this one.
The show SpongeBob SquarePants is not what you think it is. There is a secret group of puppet masters who are always watching the citizens of Bikini Bottom and pulling the strings. Hidden within Bikini Bottom are spies that keep an eye on the characters and make sure everything goes to plan. This is a conspiracy that will fundamentally change the way you look at the show SpongeBob SquarePants, and I believe it's all actually intended by the creators, and I'm gonna prove it. This is the television theory. To start this theory, we have to go back to the very beginning of the very first episode of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Ah, the sea. So fascinating. So wonderful. Here we see Bikini Bottom, teeming with life, home of one of my favorite creatures, SpongeBob SquarePants. Yes, of course he lives in a pineapple, you silly.
So let me ask you a question. Who's speaking in this clip? Well, obviously that's just the narrator. We hear his voice many times throughout the show.
Goo Lagoon. A stinky mud puddle for you and me. The Krusty Krab. Through these doors pass all the many kinds of undersea life. Puff's boating school, where diligent students learn the rules of the road.
But who exactly is the narrator? Well, he's just the narrator, right? We're not supposed to think about who he is or why we're hearing him. Lots of shows have narrator framing devices we're not supposed to think about.
Caillou was amazed that Mommy had made a rainbow, just like in the picture.
But there's something different about this narrator. He sounds a lot like he's narrating a nature documentary.
The ocean. From above, a simple blanket of water. But below, a complex world full of color, life, and wonder.
The sea. So fascinating. So wonderful. Here we see Bikini Bottom, teeming with life.
What if I told you that he's not just some random disembodied voice? He's an actual character in this universe.
Here we are again at the Bikini Bottom Boating School. Today is once again the day of SpongeBob's boating school exam. But more importantly, this is the last test for the year. And if SpongeBob does not pass this one, it means another whole year of boating school!
SpongeBob literally crashes into the fourth wall, and we actually get to see the narrator and the camera he's been filming with. The show SpongeBob SquarePants is not just a cartoon. Everything we see is a part of a nature documentary television show being filmed by scuba divers. Hey, Alex from the future here. It is kind of weird that the scuba diver seems so small here compared to most humans we see in the show. I go into this a little more at the end of the theory, but we know humans have access to shrinking technology, so I think it's very possible the filmmakers shrunk themselves down to film the show. And if you're still not convinced, I searched really hard and found an old SpongeBob DVD bonus feature that basically confirms everything.
Since before time even existed, landlubbing scientists have tried to learn the secrets of intelligence. Their studies led them to the sea, where the citizens of one undersea colony demonstrated a genius so enormous, the scientists felt compelled to record their actions for use in teaching mankind how to live better. The name of this miraculous place? Bikini Bottom. Poring over the mass of brainy masterminds scattered about this strange land, the scientists chose 6 Bikini Bottom residents at random to study. As the scientists marveled at the advanced knowledge and superior intellect of these 6 creatures,
I went to college!
They rolled their cameras and took notes. And now, finally, we can learn all of the things that these smarty pantsuses have to teach us. Life lessons from Bikini Bottom.
I don't know how it can get any more clear than that. Now, if you rewatch the show with this new information in mind, some things start to take on a whole new meaning. Throughout the series, there's this weird, unexplained running gag of a human hand interfering with the characters. It's even in the beginning of every episode in the intro for the show. Maybe the filmmakers are doing a bit more than just studying these characters. The hand seems to mostly interfere just to maintain the health and safety of the characters, like treating SpongeBob for the suds.
Well, Mr. SquarePants, it seems you have the suds. Are you ready for your treatment? Oh, Hans!
It makes sense that the filmmakers wouldn't want to risk the safety of their main character. After all, there's no show without SpongeBob, but that's not the only reason why they interfere. Season 3, Episode 16, I Had an Accident, is infamous for having one of the most absurd, confusing endings in the entire show. It ends with a real gorilla suddenly coming out of a Patrick costume and attacking the characters.
A real gorilla? Huh?
Then as soon as SpongeBob begins to question the logic of the scene, this happens.
What's a gorilla doing underwater in the first place?
Well, it's funny you should. I mean, see, George, they're onto us!
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, but this is crazy.
SpongeBob is a weird show, but this has always stuck out as being just a little too weird. But knowing what we know now, I think I can explain what's going on.
Bro, let me just freeze it right here, bro. Like... you can't tell me that's not creepy as shit. Like, this used to scare me as a kid.
On here. This isn't a real gorilla. Every other land animal we've seen underwater wears a helmet and is drawn in a cartoony style. The gorilla is shown in a live-action style, and the only time we ever see live-action characters is when they're human. So I believe both the gorilla and the horse he rides away on are humans wearing costumes. The filmmakers set this whole thing up just to make the episode more entertaining. It's starting to seem like this isn't strictly a nature documentary anymore, it's more of a reality TV show made for entertainment. Who knows what other absurd elements of the show are actually put there by the filmmakers to make the show more entertaining and profitable. Although, based on the people's reaction, it doesn't always seem to pay off. But how far will the filmmakers go to make the show more profitable?
Saturday morning in Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob is watching his favorite Saturday morning show, The Adventures of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, enjoying a bowl of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy bland cereal, and wearing the official Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy Blackfist Biters.
If we think of this as a television show, this sounds an awful lot like a product placement. I mean, listen to how the narrator specifically says the full names of the products.
The Adventures of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy bland cereal, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy Blackfist Biters.
Why don't you let me fix you some of this new Mococo drink? All natural cocoa beans from the upper slopes of Mount Nicaragua, no artificial sweeteners.
This was from The Truman Show, Carter. Like the movie I was telling you about, this is from The Truman Show. See, he was in a TV show, and she was a paid actor, basically.
Who are you talking to? Maybe the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy TV show is actually from the surface world. They are human after all. It makes sense that the filmmakers would choose to highlight these popular superhero characters. The more they show, the more they're gonna sell Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy merchandise. Also, Mermaid Man's old team of superheroes is referred to as a subsidiary of Viacom.
The International Justice League of Super Acquaintances, a subsidiary of Viacom.
And Viacom at the time was the company that owned Nickelodeon, which owns SpongeBob. So that's just more proof that Mermaid Man is directly working for the showrunners. Hang on a second, why are Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy the same size as all the fish in Bikini Bottom, even though humans are always shown as massive compared to fish? Whatever, I'll come back to that one later. The show doesn't even just hide product placements. In the episode Model Sponge, they literally trick SpongeBob into making a commercial for a human product.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Director.
Loose the pants!
What's happening?
New sponge commercial. Take one.
Your bathroom is a disaster. Get it cleaned up fast with the new sponge. Just look at that shine.
This is just like in real life how SpongeBob is such a popular character that he's used to sell tons and tons of products. So far I've shown you that the show SpongeBob SquarePants is actually a documentary television show, but the creators continually interfere to push their own agendas and make more money. But that brings us to an important question. Do the characters know they're in a television show? Let's go back to that clip where SpongeBob hits the cameraman.
It means another whole year of boarding school! What happened?
Oh, nothing, SpongeBob. You just struck another pedestrian.
Mrs. Puff calls him a pedestrian, which sounds more like she thinks he's just some random Bikini Bottom citizen. The different types...
Is the video too loud? Hold on.
of marine life in SpongeBob are so diverse and weird looking that it's not too hard to believe that the characters just think these filmmakers are another weird type of fish. And back to the gorilla episode, the gorilla and the horse immediately get nervous and run away when SpongeBob questions what's going on.
Well,
is that better?
It's funny you should. I mean, see, George, they're onto us!
Let's get out of here.
Almost like the creators don't want the characters to be aware their lives are being interfered with. Now, there isn't a ton of footage of the characters interacting with the filmmakers, but I dug really, really deep and found the smoking gun that answers all of our questions. This is an old commercial from 2004 made to promote the SpongeBob movie.
SpongeBob, what kind of jellyfish is that?
It's not a jellyfish,
That-
Patrick.
that-
It's a
that.
spaceship.
Hey guys, it's Carlos from the Zone. I was wondering if you could answer a few questions.
Questions? Run for your lives!
No, Pat, don't you see? It wants to learn about our world, and it's chosen us.
What? Yay! Oh, we've been chosen.
A submarine comes down to SpongeBob and Patrick to ask questions to promote the new movie. SpongeBob and Patrick are clearly confused by this and think the submarine is some kind of alien. They also have no idea that they're the stars of a movie.
Well, thanks guys. We'll see you in the movie.
Movie? What's that?
I know.
So I think it's pretty clear at this point that the characters are unaware their lives are being filmed and interfered with. But there are some characters that have to have some level of awareness. For example, the Dr. Fish that told the human hand to treat SpongeBob, and the Director Fish that directed the commercial for the human world. What makes these characters so special? First off, the Director Fish isn't actually from Bikini Bottom. Before he directed this commercial, we saw him as a citizen of New Kelp City in the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob. Out of all the characters they could have used, they specifically chose a character from out of town. Almost like the filmmakers didn't want to use anyone in Bikini Bottom so they wouldn't risk everyone finding out about the television show. Then there's the Dr. Fish. We don't know where he originally came from, but he's an extremely suspicious character. Usually he's purple, but sometimes he's orange, sometimes he's purple with orange hands, sometimes he's a pirate, and he bears a striking resemblance to Dr. Manowar from the Jellyfish Convention.
And now it only hurts when you touch it.
Why does he have so many different disguises and identities? What is he hiding? Okay, so this isn't directly related to the television theory, but I have something really interesting to say about this doctor. In Season 14's Don't Make Me Laugh, we see the Dr. Fish wearing orange gloves.
Yeah, at
And
11 I
I'm
gotta
pretty
go. It's
sure
10:42
this is
now.
like a
Okay.
super subtle
Alright.
reference to this one time that he randomly had orange arms in Season 1. It's like they're trying to retcon this old animation mistake and give it an in-universe explanation. They also did this with Perch Perkins, a side character who's notoriously switched back and forth between having orange and purple skin throughout the entire show. But in Season 13, we get this close-up shot of him where we can see little
You guys got work
smudges
or
of
something?
purple makeup, implying his inconsistent colors was always him just wearing makeup. It's like the creators are telling us that little details matter. Even things that are obviously just animation mistakes have explanations in the lore of this show. Okay, sorry for the tangent, I just thought that was really interesting. Back to the theory. I believe hidden throughout Bikini Bottom are spies like this, who are aware they're in a television show and keep tabs on the main characters and make sure everything goes to plan. There's so many suspicious characters in Bikini Bottom that it could literally be anyone. The mailman, the hot dog vendor, Old Man Jenkins, it could literally be anyone. Some people have pointed out that there's this scene with Patrick that could be implying he is a self-aware spy.
3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
But since this is the only example of anything suspicious with Patrick, I think it's a little more likely that he's just too stupid to understand what he's doing here. But what if I told you that the biggest spy of all isn't some random side character? It's one of the main characters of the show. Someone who's been there from the very beginning. Someone who's not even from Bikini Bottom. Someone who's not even from the ocean.
Sandy
That's right.
Cheeks.
Sandy Cheeks. Sandy Cheeks is the thrill-seeking scientific squirrel from Texas who lives underwater in her tree dome. But why did she come to Bikini Bottom? In the episode Chimps Ahoy, we find out she was hired by a group of chimpanzees to come underwater and create inventions. But why does she need to be underwater to make inventions? She could have just as easily made any of her inventions on land. It must be extremely expensive to maintain a giant dome of air underwater. There is no way the only reason she's here is to make random inventions. I think this whole episode is an elaborate ruse to throw off the other characters from the real reason Sandy is in Bikini Bottom, to spy on the main characters and make sure the show stays on track. Many of the times the characters are in danger, Sandy conveniently steps in to save the day, and many of the wacky, entertaining episode plots are driven by an invention Sandy creates. Everything she does is a calculated move to carry out the hidden agenda of the filmmakers. Her entire friendship with SpongeBob and the other characters is built on a lie. But you're probably saying, Sandy is a sweet, friendly squirrel. There's no way she's behind this. You're not convinced yet? That's okay. Because what I'm about to show you is so mind-blowing, so insanely revealing, that it's actually the whole reason I decided to make this video. Get ready for the big one. Season 10, Episode 10, Feral Friends, is the episode that unlocks this entire mystery. During a birthday party, a green moon suddenly appears and turns everyone except Sandy into less evolved, real-life versions of themselves. Sandy is completely caught off guard by this and decides to call someone for help. And take a guess who she calls.
Hello, French narrator speaking.
Hey, Frenchie, it's me, Sandy.
Ah, Sandy Cheeks. How is it hanging?
Oh, it's not hanging too good, Frenchie. You see, there's this...
Don't say another word. I have been monitoring the behavior of the green moon all day.
Huh, yeah, I guess that's a pretty interesting clip, yeah. Holy Sandy literally calls the narrator to let him know what's going on and asks for instructions on what to do next. She has been working with him the entire fucking time. He even has a picture of her on his desk.
Oh my god, the narrator! Oh my gosh, oh my god! Bro, my mind is just blowing up. My mind is just exploding, dude. This is crazy.
Many people have commented about this, but there has been a major new development for this Sandy is a spy theory. In the brand new SpongeBob movie, Saving Bikini Bottom, we basically get outright confirmation of this theory. Like, it's not even up for debate anymore. The movie reveals Sandy has been working for human scientists this entire time, and we even see this.
The reason I'm back in Texas is because Bikini Bottom...
weren't that the town you were spying on?
I weren't spying. I was... doing observations.
Direct confirmation that Sandy is a spy 3 years after I posted my television theory.
I'm doing something great and beautiful thanks to yours.
He's like, oh my god, oh my god.
Scientific research cheats.
My science? But
I thought I knew you.
It does seem like she didn't know the full extent of what was happening.
I didn't know that you were using me to spy on Bikini Bottom.
And also, it's never outright said that the humans are using them for a secret TV show. It's actually more about using them to create merchandise in the plot of this movie. But we do get confirmation that they've always been filming them, and that the human company that Sandy works for was recently bought out by a different company, which explains why they're focusing more on merchandise in this movie rather than a TV show.
You have reached Boots Laboratories, now a division of Gushing Waters Water Parks, and future home of Sea Pals.
Either way, I'm gonna take the W. This theory aged very, very well. This is where I originally planned on ending the video, but there is still one small issue with the television theory. Just one nagging plot hole that contradicts everything. If this is all a television show filmed by scuba divers, then how are we seeing inside the buildings? It's not like any of the humans filming the show could fit inside them. It's the one annoying thing that keeps this theory from being complete. I mean, the most logical explanation is that they have hidden cameras inside of everyone's homes, but we never really see anything like that. Holy shit. Season 6, Episode 24, Truth or Square. The SpongeBob 10th Anniversary Special where they reveal lots of stuff about the characters. But the most damning piece of evidence comes from when the characters get lost in the Krusty Krab vents and end up in a room full of monitors showing live footage of all of their homes.
Oh, my house is on TV.
All of our houses are on TV. Mr. Krabs, why do you have cameras watching us?
Oh, but, I just want to make sure you all floss after every meal.
Thank you, Mr. Krabs. Dental hygiene is very, very important.
Dental hygiene? Eugene, you lying bastard. Of course he would sell out his friends for a quick buck. And if there's any part of you that thinks there's some chance Mr. Krabs has all these hidden cameras for some other reason, then take a look at what happens next.
Hey, who are those guys?
I think it's us, Patrick. But who are they?
Whoa! That's crazy. That is crazy.
Alright, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. A cameraman and a boom operator have been following around the characters this entire time. And just like the gorilla, as soon as they get seen, they make a run for it. Okay, so obviously, in the new Sandy movie, Mr. Krabs sort of acts surprised and betrayed by Sandy being a spy, which kind of makes it seem like he's not a spy, but think about it. If you were Mr. Krabs and a fellow spy's cover was just blown, you're not just gonna confess that you are also a spy. You're obviously gonna play along and pretend like you didn't know anything. I don't think this really disproves
But look at his
the
face.
case of this theory.
Look
Like,
at
it's
his
not even
fucking
up for
face.
debate anymore. The movie reveals Sandy
Hold on.
like she didn't know the full extent of what was happening.
I didn't know that you were using me to spy on Bikini Bottom.
And also, it's never outright said that the humans are using them for a secret TV show. It's actually more about using them to create merchandise in the plot of this movie. But we do get confirmation that they've always been filming them, and that the human company that Sandy works for was recently bought out by a different company, which explains why they're focusing more on merchandise in this movie rather than a TV show.
You have reached Moods Laboratories, now a division of Gushing Waters Water Parks, and future home of Sea Pals.
Either way, I'm gonna take the W. This theory aged very, very well. This is where I originally planned on ending the video.
Yeah, for real.
but there is still one small issue with the television theory. Just one nagging plot hole that contradicts everything. If this is all a television show,
Yeah, and
filmed by
apparently
scuba
Pearl
divers,
is like
then
adopted
how are we
because
seeing inside the buildings?
like
It's
their
not like any of the humans
her
filming the show
mom and dad
inside
got
them. It's
captured
the
by like one of the
annoying
hooks.
thing that keeps this theory from being complete.
Got killed.
I mean, the most logical
And
explanation is that they have hidden
he found
cameras
Pearl
inside
and just
everyone's
adopted
homes,
her.
but we never really see anything like that. Holy shit. Season 6, Episode 24, Truth or Square. The SpongeBob 10th Anniversary Special where they reveal lots of stuff about the characters. But the most damning piece of evidence comes from when the characters get lost in the Krusty Krab vents and end up in a room full of monitors showing live footage of all of their homes.
Oh, my house is on TV.
Mr.
Wait, did we already watch this? Oh,
Do you have
okay.
cameras watching us?
Oh, but, I just want to make sure you all floss after every meal.
Thank you, Mr. Krabs. Dental hygiene is very, very important.
Dental hygiene? Eugene, you lying bastard. Of course he would sell out his friends for a quick buck. And if there's any part of you that thinks there's some chance Mr. Krabs has all these hidden cameras for some other reason, then take a look at what happens next.
Hey, who are those guys?
I think it's us, Patrick. But who are they?
Whoa! That's crazy. That is crazy.
Alright, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. A cameraman and a boom operator have been following around the characters this entire time, and just like the gorilla, as soon as they get seen, they make a run for it. Okay, so obviously, in the new Sandy movie, Mr. Krabs sort of acts surprised and betrayed by Sandy being a spy, which kind of makes it seem like he's not a spy, but think about it. If you were Mr. Krabs and a fellow spy's cover was just blown, you're not just gonna confess that you are also a spy. You're obviously gonna play along and pretend like you didn't know anything. I don't think this really disproves anything here. The case is closed. The television theory is something the show has consistently alluded to from the very first episode to the newest episodes. Maybe one day the show will actually directly address it and our characters will discover the real truth about their world. But regardless, that's my theory. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hey, whoa, hang on a second. You thought I forgot about the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy thing, didn't ya? Alright, here's a quick bonus theory. Oh yeah, I guess this one already kind of had a bonus mini theory. I'll still do a new proper mini theory after this, so don't worry. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy were two superheroes that fought crime underwater and protected the sea from evil. Whether or not they actually did this or was all staged for television isn't clear, but they both spent their lives underwater until they became old and retired. But after spending so much time under the sea, they no longer fit in with human society. Plus, Mermaid Man is clearly dealing with some form of dementia and PTSD from fighting evil.
But you can't retire. There's evil afoot.
What evil?
So, they decided to live the rest of their lives in Bikini Bottom. And in order to fit in better with their fellow sea creatures, they made the permanent decision to shrink themselves using Mermaid Man's shrinking belt. The case is closed. Again.
These theories are they're crazy, man. I don't know where he comes up with it. I don't know how he finds it, but the man he's spot on. He is spot on. I believe all of it.
What are you still doing here? You still have not downloaded Pi Adblock? You know I'm just gonna keep showing up on your screen until you download it, right? Honestly, it's 2025. No one is watching ads anymore.
Damn right I'm not. Fuck off my screen, motherfucker.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it right now. The television theory is the best SpongeBob theory I have ever made. Like it's not even close. If you were to ask me if any of my theories were...
Alright, but Carter, I'm gonna let you go ahead and go. I just wanted to show you this theory that I was talking about yesterday. But yeah, bro, I hope you have a good day. I'm gonna end the stream. So alright, I'm gonna see your later, twin. If you get on, you wanna play the game or something.